Hello everyone, welcome to the House of TRIPP. So in this tutorial we're going to be creating an image similar to this. Without much cap, let's get started. So for this particular design we'll be making use of the 3x4 dimension, that's 960 by 1280. And I'll be using the same image I used in the original design for the tutorial, exactly the same elements I used for the same design. So firstly, I'll set my image position to be centralized, take it a little bit down, and then we'll proceed to making the floor, the design floor, the granite floor texture. So I used the basic square for the texture, scaled it, and after scaling I added the texture. I already had the picture to use for the floor texture. For now, I'll leave the color of the floor as white. Later on, I'll put the texture back. So we'll proceed to making the sideboards. For the sideboards, my width was 96, the height 7, then the rotation at the y-axis was 75. You can make yours anyhow you like it, but I just chose to make mine this way. You can make, then I proceeded to add in shadow. The blur radius 9, the offset at the y-axis at 3. Like I said, you can make yours whichever way you like. You can make your blur radius higher than that, anyhow, that's any way that suits your design. So then proceed to duplicating the board at the left, and then you just reverse the rotation at the y-axis from 75 to -75. Then place it to match the exact spot with the right axis so it will blend well. Take it to the back of the main image to give it that 3D racetrack look. You can now proceed to position the character and the sideboards in our desired way that we like. So I decided to position mine to give it the wider and farther view vibe. You can make yours closer view, wider view, depending on your choice. The next thing I added was the narrow V-shaped white space at the top, although not necessary, but I decided to add it to give it like an extra vibe. It's totally optional. Next, we'll be creating the left and right design collage display. Now this part was very simple. All I had to do was just make a custom rectangle, add texture to it, and the texture I added was screenshots, a landscape screenshot I've already taken of my recent designs, and voila, you have the collage display. Then you set it to how you want it. Then after setting the right side, duplicated the image to the left, reselected another image as the texture because I took 2 screenshots of my designs. So then the other image for the left side, this one for the right side, and simple. Next, I'll be adding the shining sticker that is available in Pixellab modded versions. So I'll add it at the back of the character to make the background look more natural. Okay, so what we'll be creating next now is the shadow for the image. Now I got some comments like, how did I create the shadow, or when I was exporting the image, did I export the image with shadow? No, I created the shadow on Pixellab, and it's actually quite simple to create the shadow. So that's what we'll be doing next now. To create the shadow, what I basically did, I just added the basic circle shape. I reduced the opacity to 0, added shadow. Once you add shadow and it has no opacity, it automatically becomes a shadow. Then the color of the shadow, I made it kind of transparent, placed 2 of the circles on the both legs. For the second leg, I actually made use of perspective. I enabled perspective and then tweaked it a bit to give it more realism. Now for the main shadow, all I did, I just duplicated the character image, clicked on crop, inversed it to upside down, took it down, and then just the same way we did with the circles, reduce the opacity to 0, enable shadow so it becomes a shadow, make the shadow kind of transparent. So after that, we then proceed to perspective. Now in the perspective session, we made I tweaked it to like you keep trying. I tried multiple times before I could get the shadow that yes, this I like it this way. Keep tweaking till it actually becomes a shadow that looks like a shadow that yes, it fits the design. Now that we have actually gotten this look in the design, we can now bring out the ground texture. So we reduce the opacity and add a shadow to give it more realism, so it will look like real ground texture. That's basically what I did. So then after doing that, make few touches on the opacity, on the shadow, tweak till you achieve what you feel, yes, I like it this way. So from there we then move to adding the text on the ground. For the text on the ground, the font I used was the Falcon font. I already have it as part of the default fonts that came with the Pixellab version I'm using. The Falcon font, you can also download this from DA fonts or whichever font downloading websites you know about. Next, I increase the size of the font, align it. Then I added spacing to the letters. You can add as much spacing as you feel nice. There's spacing and there's line spacing. I also added line spacing. I added line spacing to the max. That's 131 is the max on Pixellab for line spacing. Then centralized the text. The next thing I did was to make the color darker. And after making the color darker, I rotated it on the x-axis 60 degrees on the x-axis. After the rotation, I enabled opacity and like to make it faint and align with the road. Next, I embossed the image, played around with the light angle. This part is totally optional. There was no actual need for me embossing the text, but I decided to play around with it, so you can go ahead to emboss it or leave it the way it is, whichever one suits you. So next we'll be making the text that's attached to the sideboard, that's the TRIPP text. So to achieve the 3D effects that was on the text, I made use of the Squid Game fonts for the text. First off, you can download it. I actually downloaded it from that font, DA fonts. That's the text right there with the Squid Game font. Increase the size, basic playing around with the text. So I increase the size. So where the main vibe comes is at the 3D rotation side, where you start tweaking it to fit in with the sideboard and making it a 3D text. You know, there's an icon for enabling text to become 3D here, so I made use of that, made it 3D, embossed it, set the light angle to blend with the scene, with the background scene, with the lighting. So that is very important when making a 3D text for a design. You ensure that the light blends with the background and blends with the scene that you're working on. For the text to be placed at the left, just copy the first text, edit the name, rotated it on the X and Y axis. You can play with the rotation whichever way you like, but I decided to still use to give me the accurate dimension I want. All I did was to just rotate it with the same figures, but instead of at -45 for the y-axis, it will become 45 at the y-axis, just the opposite, so it will fit well with what I wanted to achieve. Then I place it on the board, place it whichever way you like. You can place it down, you can place it up, you can make it centralized. So in this case, I made it centralized, put it at the back of the character image, resize it to whichever way you want it to be. After resizing, then we play with the embossing lighting angle. That's very important. Right now it's looking like it's encapsulated, it's encased in a metal, like a metal is guarding it, but that's not what I want. I just want it to blend, like show that light is reflecting on it. So I work on the light angle at the emboss section. So after playing around with the light angle, I achieved what I felt was okay, and that was all. And that's a wrap on this particular design tutorial. So to further edit the image, you can make use of Lightroom Mobile or Snapseed, whichever one you feel is okay. In my case, I made use of both, so you can do the same, or you can leave the image like this if you like it this way. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, share. I really love it if you could drop your results in the comment section. Thanks for watching. See you in the next tutorial video.